So I got to see the top part.
Well, that's cool. I am going to hand out some stuff. If you were not here last week, Lily, I think that's just you. You've got all your Q4 stuff is at the door, including a big roll of paper. And I sent out something last week that explained the big roll of paper, so you should know what's up with that. Darcy, your sea urchin is still up there if you want to take it home and mess with it. And Lewis, your binder's at the front door too in the lost and found bin if you want to grab it.
Ah, I knew it was it.
No, I said I want to use it more.
Where? Ethan has the origami.
Oh, does he? Cool. I can't wait to see it.
Our printer doesn't color paper, so it's just black and white.
That's all right. You did what you needed. This is yours. This is yours. It's yours.
Because we're on the
Dad,
same
you ready?
Yeah, it's technically Bailey.
No, it is. It is.
So
Okay.
we were done. We poked the pig. Yeah, we poked the pig.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun grading those. It was good. It was good. And I still have lots of videos and I need to put them together and make it into a little movie for you guys, but I have not had the opportunity to do that because we spent the entire weekend at the gymnastics state meet. Yeah.
Oh, my has been diagnosed with asthma.
Oh, fun. Okay.
And she's having really bad trouble breathing.
Okay. Yeah. Jason's a lifelong asthmatic, so I get it. Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. That's fine.
He does this thing with really nice. If he gets take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Like it stops.
Yeah. I know how it goes. Yeah.
So, he might have a leak to go on.
That's fine if he does. I know how to treat asthmatics too. We've got a nebulizer. We've got all the things here because Jason's a lifelong asthmatic and has gotten better as an adult, but his sister blames him for ruining every Christmas they had by spending Christmas Eve in the ER because he would get excited, worked up, pinned in the house with the dogs, which was a trigger for him. And
Just like a child wake up on Christmas morning.
mhm. Actually, as we're getting ready to start our human anatomy unit, I'll tell you, when we were in college, it was our senior year of college. We were both home for Christmas holidays, or I think it was Christmas holidays. Maybe it was spring break. I don't know, something. And Jason had his parents had dogs at the time. And
Do I?
no, you keep all those. As long as I know you have them, just wave them at me. That's good. I see them there. But his parents had 2 dogs at the time and he was allergic to dogs. And I don't know, he'd go from a dorm room that had, a certain number of allergic things in it to a house that had a different number of allergic things in it. And he got sick. So he got an asthma attack so bad that he was coughing so hard that he actually ripped holes in his lungs, like shredded little holes in his lungs. And then what happens is you've got air that leaks out of your lungs into your pleural cavity and into your thorax. So they leak all around and they can end up actually pressing on your heart because now it's air where it's not supposed to be. So you have too much air and it gets into like a little balloon pocket. He could go like this and you could hear it squish around, air bubbles under his skin. So they put him in the ICU and they were talking about getting him a chest tube, which is when they actually poke a hole in between your ribs because it can reduce pressure in your chest cavity. He didn't get that far, thank God, but it was scary. So it was the weirdest thing. He coughed so hard that he ripped his lungs up. So
3 people in first and second grade got out.
oh yeah, we've had a lot in our family. I mean, both the boys had it when they were younger and they both have grown out of it. But I'll say as soon as they get sick, they get wheezy, but
None of my family has it.
that's good because it's not fun. So today we are moving on to animal behavior. This is our last animal unit. And then we are going to be heading into our human unit. And everybody should have gotten, or will get today, their big roll of paper. Hope you guys found a place for it to live.
I did not.
Yes.
I didn't find a place for it to live yet.
Mhm.
I'm gonna wait for my dad to come back, and then we're gonna outline him because he's 6'4", so all the organs should fit really well inside.
They'll probably fit better in you. They probably will be too big for him. So it'll probably have holes between them because he's awfully tall. It's probably better. I did it for it should be about 5'8" I'm hoping, or a little smaller. It should be able to condense to some degree.
5'2" to 5'4".
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll fit me. I'm 5'2". So anyway, It should be fun, and you might need to make a couple connections. Drew was really kind of sucked in the other day, and he just started coloring, and he colored like all the organs, but he didn't do anything with them yet. He just colored them all. So that's something you can do to get yourself ahead too. All right, so our last bit here is animal behavior. You guys have a test this week too. Hooray. So this was your homework. So this is how this is going to work this week. I get to go look and see who commented before 8 a.m. this morning, and those people get the homework credit. If you didn't comment or try anything, there's no way to go back and do it because now the answers are going to be up there.
Me neither. I checked it before I left, and it said there is no homework for this week. I'm like, oh.
No, that's this week. Last week, there's all this good stuff. But here are your answers that we were looking for you guys. It's only one and it won't kill you. So behavior, we're starting with behavior. What's behavior? Hey, Drew, here I have a paper for you. And back. There you go. Does anybody know what that guy is?
Lizard.
Yeah, we actually had one just a couple weeks in the house that was a green and old. Remember we had him in a little tank? So this is, remember when I said that the males especially will stick out their dewlap? This is a dewlap. And they do it if they're trying to attract the ladies or if they're trying to scare off other males. I had one day, I was sitting like where Claire is, that's usually where I sit. And I had one up on my railing over here on the deck. And what caught my eye was I kept seeing pink out of the corner of my eye. And I'm like, what is pink over there? And finally, because the green was blending in with like the trees behind him, it was summertime. And finally I looked and stared for a minute and then I saw him and he was sticking his dewlap out, bobbing his head and bobbing his head and bobbing his head and pulling it back in and sticking out, bobbing his head. Clearly he was like, look at me ladies, I'm up here up high where you can see me. Like he was really showing off. So behavior is the way an organism reacts to stimuli in its environment. So a stimuli is going to be the plural for stimulus, because otherwise you'd be saying stimuluses, and that's goofy. So yeah, a stimuli, is the plural for stimulus. A stimulus is a thing or an event that evokes a specific functional reaction, or what we call a response. So the way you react to a stimuli or react to stimuli is a response. Remember that specifically. You don't want to use the word reaction. And I'm telling you this because you have a test coming up. So you remember that when an organism comes in contact with any sort of stimulus, that organism is going to respond with a response. Okay. Behaviors essential to survival and reproduction include finding and catching food, selecting a habitat, avoiding predators, and finding a mate. These are all things that involve behavior. Some behaviors can be influenced by genes and they can be inherited. Certain behaviors evolve under the influence of natural selection. Oh, and this is interesting. While we're talking about natural selection, I saw a really cool article last night. So they've been doing some genetic testing on the tortoises at the Galapagos Islands. Remember Darwin's tortoises? And on this one particular island, I'm not sure which one. Oh no, I do know which one it's.
I have something about the Galapagos turtles or tortoises.
Go ahead, you go first.
If you want to learn about them too in a fun way, watch. I don't recommend this. You can go on Futurama and watch an episode on it.
Okay, cool.
The littles. Ask your parents.
Yeah. Ask your parents. That's what I said about true facts about the marsupial last week. They have a great true facts video, but you should have permission to watch that first.
I showed my mom this and she was just.
Oh, the crying koala.
It's hilarious.
It really is. Did you see that one? The screaming. He does cry like a baby. He makes that exact noise.
And she wasn't crying or laughing. She's like, stop that obnoxious noise.
Oh gosh, yeah. So the Galapagos, the tortoises on one of the islands, I'm trying to remember which one. But anyway, they've been doing DNA testing on them, and they found that the bones they have in museums, which are from Darwin's time, of these tortoises, are completely different species from the tortoises that are there now. The former species, the one that Darwin had studied, is extinct. And the species that's there now is new, and they thought it was the same all this time, but the DNA revealed it was not the same. So now they need to find a new name. They'll need to get a new scientific name for them. Which is cool. So if a behavior increases an individual's fitness and is influenced by its genes, it tends to spread over a population. Of course it does, it's natural selection. And over many generations, adaptive behaviors can prove important in the survival of populations and species. Of course it does, just like an adaptive trait. A trait that allows for better adaptation to an environment. So let's see what this one is. So here we got behavior is a response to a stimulus. There it is. So you have a stimulus that causes a response, and that is what we call a behavior. So here is your stimulus. See a predator or feel thirsty. What's going on here with this guy? So he sees a predator, and what's he gonna do?
Run away.
Yeah, he's gonna run away.
Or you can just like if you're wildebeest or like a boar,
Mhm.
just charge those things.
So in this case, he's gonna see a predator and he's gonna run away. That's gonna be his response. And if you feel thirsty, you're gonna drink water. Now, notice, whoops, something to notice about these two. Where is this stimulus coming from?
The predator.
Right, where's the predator in relation to the prey?
Really close.
Really close. Okay, how about this one? Where's this stimulus coming from?
Stimulus is coming from the squirrel.
Coming from where in relation to the squirrel?
The mouth.
Inside the squirrel's body, right? So something internally is telling the squirrel, this is an internal stimulus. So your body causes internal stimuli that you are going to react to. So feel hungry, feel thirsty, feel tired. These are all things that you're going to have. There's going to be a response for those, as opposed to it's not always something external like this predator. This predator is external, right? And the thirsty feeling is internal. So here we have complex behaviors. Complex behaviors. These are things like innate behavior, which we call instinct, and learning. So think about like these little guys, these little baby sea turtles, right? They hatch out of the ground. They're cute as little buttons, right? Those cute little face. And what do?
Try to run to
Yeah, they get there. How do they know where they're going? Sorry, my screen is not bright enough. Yeah, they do. It's instinct. They know where they're going. So they just go. And then last week when we talked about the little baby possums, when they're born, they have to find their way to their mother's pouch. How do they do that? Do you remember what she said in the video? The girl with the crazy video and the little toy possum and the
one who kept saying penis.
The one who said, yeah, that one. It is because they use negative geotropism. Do you remember what geotropism is? Think about your roots experiment with your roots and stuff and shoots. Geotropism is being attracted by gravity to go towards the center of the earth. Negative geotropism means going up. So like when you put a seed in the ground, the roots reacts to geotropism and grow down, but the shoot reacts to negative geotropism, goes up. So that little baby kangaroos and baby possums work with negative geotropism, and that's how they know to get where they're going. Now, do you suppose a baby possum is like opened a book, read about negative geotropism, decided I'm going to climb with my hands because I don't have legs? No, it's instinctive, right? It's an innate behavior.
Like little babies can't read, also they don't have opposable thumbs.
Exactly. How are they going to turn the pages? So complex behaviors or innate behaviors. So an innate behavior, which we also call instinct, is fully functional the first time it's performed, although the animal has no previous experience with the stimulus. So animals are born knowing how to do some things. And innate behavior or instinct is a response to a stimulus that the animal did not have to learn. So what do you suppose is the innate behavior in this photo? What do you think?
I mean, I'm pretty sure I've heard once that he needed to open his mouth to eat.
So there's one. Yep. There's another one there. How does the baby bird get to eat? The mother feeds it. Did anybody have to teach the mother how to feed the baby bird, or does she just know how to do it? She just knows how to do it. Have I told you guys about cowbirds?
No.
I think I have. Maybe not. Okay, so we have a species around here. I'm not a big fan because they make you crazy, but they're called cowbirds. You may see them. They're black. They're fairly big. They're black and they have a brown head. They're not quite crow-sized, but they're bigger than like a robin. So anyway, they have a brown head and they're otherwise black. And cowbirds will lay their eggs in the nests of other birds. They're what we call a brood parasite, because a brood is a nest with eggs in it, right? They're a brood parasite. They lay their eggs in other birds' nests, like one here, one in another nest, one in another nest, and then they take off. They don't have to invest anything else. Yeah, kind of. So they don't have to invest anything else. So then what happens is, say you have a wren, very often it's wrens, because wrens put their nests in nice, wonderful, smart places. So what does the cowbird do? So the cowbird lays its egg in a wren's nest. Now its egg is bigger and different looking. If you look at wren's eggs and there's a giant other egg in there, it's going to be a cowbird. But when they hatch, the mama bird's innate sense, her instinctive behavior, her innate behavior is to put the food in what the biggest mouth she sees. She doesn't understand what that means, but the mouth that's biggest in front of her is the one that she goes, up, stick food in, right? Cowbird babies are much bigger than wren babies. So their mouths are way bigger. So the mama will keep feeding that cowbird baby despite her own babies. So the little wren babies will starve to death. Yeah, they will very often starve to death or become very undernourished, or one or two of them will starve to death while that cowbird opens its big mouth and she feeds it all the time. Yeah, it's really crazy. Now, the thing is, it's illegal to take eggs out of a nest. So if you see a cowbird egg, you can't just like take it out of that nest and smash it on the ground so that that doesn't happen, because that's not, it's against the law and it's not smart for the cowbirds. I admit that one time I had, at my old house, I had like a covered front porch and I had ferns, Boston ferns hanging on the porch. They were pretty. And a wren nested in there and I brought it down every day to put water in the fern because I didn't want to just shoot it up there anymore and soak her nest. So I'd bring it down and shoot around it. And a couple days in, there was this big, and I thought, oh, when I saw it, because you can't just take it out. But I took it out and I put it on a heating pad and everything. Like I really tried to go ahead and hatch the thing and let it go and not hurt the other babies, but it didn't ever hatch. So I guess I didn't keep it warm enough. So I probably should not have done that. I should just let nature take its course, but it breaks my heart because the wren babies are sweet.
It's like
Yes.
a bird box. It's on your lamp in your porch. Then can you take the eggs?
We can't take it at all. Not allowed. So keep that in mind though. You see those cowbirds and you see them around.
We had a bird nest. I don't remember which bird it was,
Uh-huh.
but it was like at the top of our like front porch and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And like we saw it like during in the middle of summer and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like there were a lot of snakes in our front yard, and there was like a huge copperhead in
Oh,
our front yard
no, thank you.
that we found like a week later, like
Mhm.
earlier through the past week, and we were going to check up and like the bird nest to see if like everything was all right and if they hatched or not.
Uh-huh.
And everything was all right, and then like my dad saw like 2 days later a snake slithering away with the eggs in its mouth.
Yep, they will do that. Yep.
And it broke our hearts.
It's so sad. Yep.
One actually did hatch, but it wasn't there.
But the snake got to eat, you know? It's weird.
One baby bird did get to hatch, and we're not sure if he ate it because
Oh,
we didn't
gosh.
see any feathers or anything.
Yeah, who knows, man? They're sneaky.
But
Maybe
it
it was
wasn't
a
there
hawk.
either, so
Maybe it was a hawk, like it snatched it.
It's amazing what,
we have like a cover over
yeah,
that,
she's got like a little covered front porch. Yeah.
and it was like in the corner of like,
Was it muddy? Because the starlings will make like a little muddy nest. Like they'll use mud and it'll
that's
stick.
cute.
Yeah. The problem was we had some at church. We have a big, like a vaulted entryway like this before the front door. And the starlings would go up there and they were building their little mud nests all along the inside of that. And they stick it up there, but then they poop, and they pooped all over where people are trying to walk into the building. Like you couldn't walk through the building without going through this minefield and hoping it didn't land on you because there were so many of them up there. So we let them get through their summer and let them get their babies out. And then we sent some guys up there, took them all down, and we put those little pins in that stick up because they won't build on those. You can prevent them by putting little pointy things.
I've seen people put nails on there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The other way is sometimes putting owl statues around. That'll do it. And instinct. Okay, so an instinct here, this is your innate behavior, is a response to a stimulus. A behavior an animal does not have to learn. So here's your stimulus. You feel hungry. And here's your response. You build a web. Now, a spider doesn't have to learn how to build a web, which is crazy when you think about how complex some webs are. Some spiders, they just sort of, build a little fuzzy looking thing, nothing spectacular. Other spiders will build these extremely ornate, the orb weavers, they'll make these big ornate, and they measure with their hind legs. As they pull the silk out of their spinneret, if you watch one like in slow-mo, they have really good close-up macro videos, they will pull it out and attach it, but they measure with their leg. So the length is the same, or it's 2 times when they go around, or 3, or how, and they know. It's really wild because it's almost like they're counting. They can't count, they're spiders. Somehow they do. Uh-huh.
I'm not
Miss
excited for them to
Jenny,
come
there's
back.
this thing called The Hunt, and it's by David Attenborough.
Attenborough, I love him.
there's a spider who, like, this is just really long river. Maybe it might even be from like your counter to that window,
Mhm.
and it's teeny tiny, as big as my thumbnail, and it just stands on that little branch and shoots web
Oh yeah.
all the way to the other branch.
Lets the wind carry it through.
And
It's
then
pretty
the other
neat.
one snaps it, and then she has to do it again.
That's pretty
And then
neat.
she built like this huge
She eats her own
5-foot
web,
nest
and then
on it.
poops it out again.
So look at this guy.
No,
Look, it'll go. Come on.
no.
They've been installing cable in this neighborhood again, and I swear that's what's slowing down
Wait,
everything.
no, face death.
Come on, don't do this to me.
Wait, why are we watching?
I know my internet's working because Zoom is working, so
Maybe
don't
just
tell me it's
face it.
not.
Maybe it just happened.
What the heck?
I guarantee
Come
these
on.
3 baby turtles die. I think you need to be prepared for this possibility.
Yeah.
Mm. There's your David Attenborough.
Oh, I've seen that. I've actually seen this. It's heartbreaking.
But for the young hatchlings, the trials of life have only just begun. Each new arrival will have to make a perilous dash to reach the ocean.
Right there. You're very good.
Now they're on their own.
You're so cute.
Inevitably, the tiny defenseless hatchlings attract scores of predators. Terns and herons patrol the beach.
Oh, it was almost there. Oh,
And in the shadows, reef sharks lie in wait.
these sharks, I hate them.
Why in the world is this so laggy? Wait, hold on, it's being weird. Give it a second to do your
When I was in
thing.
South Carolina, I didn't notice there was a shark right next to me and my brother until I saw the fin. It was like 6 feet away, and I screamed. And then
People used to do that in Virginia Beach all the
Okay,
time, and it made
never
us laugh because there were
splash.
always porpoises.
Never splash when there's a fish.
Okay, thank you, YouTube, for being completely non-dependable here.
you never depend on the internet.
No, you cannot.
Inevitably,
Hold on, let's try this. Let's try taking it out of this for a second.
Just try to get it on YouTube, it might be clearer.
That's what I'm doing. I don't know what's up, but it's being weird. So let's try it this way. But like even that doesn't want to open. Everything's, look at how slow everything is. Why? I'm gonna have to restart my computer or something in between classes. I don't think it's my computer though. I really think it's the internet. It's been so weird this
Is there
last couple
any
days.
cell phone towers that's been knocked down?
No, but you see that they're, you see how they're digging in my neighborhood? Did you see that again? They're extending the fiber back here. So that's part of it, I think. Come on.
Ooh, after like, I think 2 years preparing the ground, they're starting to put up houses in the neighborhood. My neighborhood.
Oh yeah,
They're starting to put up houses. And it's really cool.
We
to
gotta all
watch that.
pray.
finally, huh? This doesn't look much more promising. Look at this.
Everyone
What in the
pray.
world?
Cross your fingers.
It's an ad too. Oh no.
No,
Yeah.
there we go.
There
Well, that looks better at least,
start to emerge.
maybe.
But for the young hatchlings, trials of life have only just begun.
Expand. Look, good gracious.
Each new arrival will have to make a perilous dash to reach the ocean.
It's not blurry.
Yeah.
Oh, where'd it go?
Now they're on their own.
It's about to be killed.
Aw.
Aww. Grow attached.
Inevitably, the tiny defenseless hatchlings attract scores of predators.
Yeah, predators, we know.
Terns and herons patrol the beach.
So close.
Oh.
And in the shadows, reef sharks lie in wait.
Die. Me and my brother almost got attacked by a black. Crazy man. Reef shark.
Aw. He looks very tired.
It's just like, what does it have to be Monday?
Yeah, exactly.
Monday's ending day.
Thingy, tunnel underground. That's what you need to do.
This is why they have so many, right?
They're picking them off one by one.
My question is, if the camera is so close, why don't they do anything?
They're just
Oh,
letting
they
nature
go,
be
go,
nature.
baby, go.
They're not interfering.
Stupid.
Yeah.
See, look, they're so close that the things wouldn't dare
A
go.
roof
Big
shark
shark
comes
comes
out
out
of
of
the
yard.
But enough will make it to the ocean to ensure the species' survival.
So
Yay, we made it.
Fun fact, did you know 1 in 50 baby sea turtles actually live?
I think it might even be less than that. But yeah, that's the whole reason why they have such a large brood, right? When they stop. I told you to stop.
Yeah, I know. It's getting good. I like the one with the blue wire.
Anyway, that's why sea turtles have such a large brood, because it's necessary to have that large of a brood, because not all of them are going to survive. Ecosystem resources. Okay, so I'll go back and fix that in a minute. And reboot, I guess, is the point. So next thing we talk about here is imprinting. Okay. So imprinting is the process by which some animals, such as birds, recognize and follow the first object they see during a critical period in their lives. So imprinting is behavior in which learning and instinct interact. So some animals, ducklings are a great example of this. Have you ever watched how they follow their mother everywhere? Okay, so when a duckling hatches and it sees the first moving object, which tends to be its mother because she's biggest, right? Even if the siblings are hatching, the mom's big and that's who catches your eye. That's why they follow her everywhere, because they have imprinted on her, and it means they will follow her wherever she goes. They are very much attached to that thing. And they get to a certain point where they kind of grow out of the following phase and they stop. But for a long time, they will follow her everywhere.
How many years? 'Cause my dog
It's
is
not years.
extremely attached.
It's not years, it's months. But if you have a duckling and it hatches and you are the first thing it sees, it's going to follow you. And if you have a duck, maybe you have a baby duck that hatched and it didn't quite see another thing, or maybe it did see a mom, but then it lost its mom. They can still see moving things and attach themselves. So I don't know if this video is going to work, or we're going to have to go to YouTube for it. I almost think I should just go to YouTube for it just to be sure. Let me go straight to YouTube for it so it doesn't do weird stuff.
You could just press the watch on YouTube button.
Yeah, but then it's going to open a window that I can't reach beyond this thing up here, and it gets to be a real, come on, it gets to be a real pain. I'd much rather do it right here where I can see it. This is great. I love this. This is super. Get bigger.
How long is this video?
Not very long.
Honestly, I love it. Oh, so cute. Daddy. Daddy.
Cute.
So happy you have me.
Wait till this guy runs. It's great.
Where can I find baby?
Look.
I want
Way to go.
Maybe just like, Daddy, don't eat me.
Look at that.
Oh, baby duckling.
Look. These little wings are out. It's a
I can't find our baby duckling. I want one.
Isn't he precious? Look at go.
Oh, so cute.
But that's imprinting. He's going to go wherever this guy goes. I mean, there is just no doubt about it. He's going to follow that man everywhere.
Where can I find
So
baby
cute.
He's getting the wild animals. How would you explain that to the police? He just followed
Yeah, I'm sorry, but this duck just followed me home. Never mind. No big deal.
Sorry, I'm not kidnapping it.
So then we have learned behaviors. So acquiring changes in behavior during one's lifetime is called learning. So there are 4 main types of learning: habituation, classical conditioning, insight learning, and imprinting, which we just talked about as being sort of a combination of innate behavior and learning. So habituation here, the first one, is the process by which an animal decreases or stops its response to a repetitive stimulus that neither rewards nor harms the animal. So look at this. There's a safari truck going by, and there's a pair of lions, and they don't care. It's not bothering them, right? They're hanging out. That's habituation. And that is, they basically they don't care about it. It doesn't harm them, and they don't gain anything from it either, so they're just ignoring it. But do you think the first time they saw that truck, they were so chill? I don't think so. First time they saw that truck, they were probably like, oh my goodness, is this thing gonna hurt us? Is this prey? What is it, right?
Let's kill it. Let's kill it.
So here's another one. I don't know if it's gonna let me do it or not,
Let's go for it.
but it shows, I think this one may go. It looks like it looks pretty clear. Let's see.
Seriously.
Please.
And a balloon.
So this is a herd of horses. Look, they have a balloon. Now watch. They're habituated to this balloon.
Like was on the floor, because if one of them pulls it with their front legs and it pops, then they will feel fearful towards the balloon.
See, they don't like it right now,
Habituate to the balloon.
but they're getting used to it.
They don't need to respond to it, and they just want to ignore it. So you see, after a minute, I stop the video and pick the balloon up, and I have a brain know that this is not realise it. But I put the video up anyway because it's interesting to see how the ones react to it.
See that after a minute, they're like, okay.
I want them to stand by, approach the balloon first.
Mhm.
We're okay.
Wait to come over after the other one.
Which one puts it in its mouth? Bob's teacher.
And she said she noticed that the older ones checked it out first. They learned it was no big deal. They moved on. Then the younger ones checked it out.
Couldn't leave more and more top.
I love
But
horses.
then you
It's
guys,
gonna fall.
one of the youngest, they
I love
the
horses.
was quite sure yet.
It's okay. No. So sometimes it can take just a minute, right? So those horses did habituate to that balloon. It didn't take very long. At first, they walked up to me, they're tossing their heads around. What is this? They were uncomfortable. And then they realized, okay, well, it's not going to hurt me, so I'm good. So classical conditioning, this is often something your parents will use with you. This is one of the things your parents can use with you. So classical conditioning is a certain response, certain stimulus, sorry, comes to produce a particular response, usually through an association with positive or negative experience. Okay, that's like, if you hit your brother, I'm going to put you in timeout. Okay, that's going to be your negative experience, right? And if you, oh, like with little tiny kids, sometimes if you're teaching them to use the potty, you give them M&Ms or something, or sticker charts or whatever, and that works. Lollipops, there you go.
I was just told good job, Darcy.
Yeah,
Hello, family. You get a lollipop if you go.
there you go. So there's all sorts of things you can do here, which is classical conditioning. So this is negative or positive. This is great. Okay, this is, y'all should try this with a sibling. Yeah, and some of you have other siblings that aren't here, so you could definitely get away with this. Yes, you do. So you can get away with this. So here's Pavlov. Now Pavlov is the guy who, you may read about Pavlov or whatever, but he's the guy who had a dog. And every time he went to feed his dog, he would ring this bell, and then he would feed the dog. And he would ring the bell, feed the dog, ring the dog, whatever, ring the bell, feed the dog. I can't speak. He did it for days. And then he would ring the bell, and the dog would come, and he was already salivating. So he was prepared to eat, like his body was prepared to eat. Even when his mind knew the bell might come, his body knew too, time for food, right? So that was Pavlov. So that's the idea of what they call a Pavlovian experiment. So a Pavlovian experiment is you do something, you get a response. You do something, you get a response. And sooner or later, that response becomes so quick that you don't have to think about it. So this is a perfect example. I love this. I want to do this to somebody for fun.
Probably get in trouble.
I'm gonna do it to my.
What's up, guys? I'm Andrew Daughters, and today I'll be conducting Ivan Pavlov's experiment on classical conditioning. So today, I'm going to be conditioning my older brother James, and hopefully by the end of the experiment, he will flinch in response to an alert sound on my cell phone. In classical conditioning, an unconditioned stimulus causes an unconditioned response, and a neutral stimulus is paired with the unconditioned stimulus.
Yeah, watch, it's great.
Alone causes a response. Initially, I will use an alert sound from my phone as a neutral stimulus to get an unconditioned response. Then for the next few trials, I'll use this unconditioned stimulus of the ball hitting my brother to get an unconditioned response.
This is pretty cool. It shows exactly how it works.
Next in the experiment, I'll attempt to make the neutral stimulus of the alert sound from my phone to get the exact same reaction as the paper ball being thrown at my brother through classical conditioning. After each alert sound, I will throw one paper ball at my brother.
So you notice the alert sound came off on this phone. His brother didn't move, right? Okay, so.
Why did you hit me? My brother would probably yell at me like, why did you hit me? Okay, Claire. You
Like,
like,
what's he doing, also?
Watch though, watch.
He's gonna see.
Show you this.
No, YouTube video.
I wanna do this just to annoy my siblings.
He's gonna turn around and catch it.
Watch though, keep watching. This is great. Now watch. He didn't throw it that time. It was just the sound, right?
I'm doing that to my dad, only my scream a lot.
Isn't that great though? I mean, he didn't even, the last time was just the and his brother turns around and I'm sure his brother didn't even connect the alert sound with the throwing. He probably didn't like consciously connect it.
He probably just like,
So operant conditioning. Okay, so operant conditioning is your trial and error. And this is when you get reward or punishment to teach an animal to have a certain way, behave a certain way through repeated practice. So again, this is also something your parents may use with you, right? This one's probably really obvious, reward and punishment, right? So I love this. Here's your reward and punishment. This is a quick one, but it's perfect. Watch this dude.
Like if you score one basketball shot, you get one candy, okay? Go.
Is he using a soccer ball?
No.
Here.
Hello, it comes out like.
Score one
So she offered him a treat if he did it, and he did it, and he got the treat. So then we have, guys, not too much chit chat. So then we have, guys, not too much chit chat. Then we have insight learning. Okay, so insight learning is when you take what you already know and you apply it to another situation so that it's in a different context now. You've taken what you know and you apply it. Now, this is something that when in humans especially increases with age because it increases with experience, right? So there was like, for example, they did I think it was brain games, but they did an experiment where they had like 3 light bulbs hanging in a room. And Drew, what are you doing? Drew, stop. I don't know what you're doing, but stop. Thank you. You're being loud. Sit in your chair. They had 3 light bulbs hanging from like chains in a room. And they would bring people in the room and they would say, before you came in, one of these light bulbs was on. You have like 10 seconds to figure out which one it was. And people were looking at them like, ah. But the older people immediately went and touched the bulbs, and some of the younger people just kind of stood there and stared at them like, well, I don't know how to do that. I mean, how am I going to figure out which one was on? So crows, if you didn't know, are extraordinarily bright and they're very good at insight learning. And if you watch what this crow does here, it's pretty fascinating. So what they've done is they've got food in this center pipe. And one of these pipes is going to be connected with a U-bend. So it's actually one big pipe. The other pipe does not connect with the U-bend. It ends, and the crow can figure that out. If you watch what they do, I love crows. I love this stuff with crows. So he wants the food in the middle, and they've given him some pebbles. So I'm going to take this pebble, drop it in there, and the food moved. And he's like, okay. Now what happens if I put it in this other one? Food didn't move. Does it really happen? No. Okay, so what do I need to do to get the food? I gotta go over here and
The colors have to help.
They really can't see the color, I don't think.
Really?
I don't think so. I'm not sure, but maybe. But see, he knows he's got to put it in that one because he knows that one didn't do anything. And they've done lots of experiments like that with crows with water and pebbles and things, and they can.
What the crud is that dog?
It's excited.
My dog jumps that high.
It says if a dog gets excited upon seeing her leash, she's been conditioned to associate the leash with a walk. If a duck follows you home, you may have imprinted as its mother. Insight involves using what an animal has learned before, like how to escape from a cage again and again. You ever had an animal that can get out of its cage on purpose?
I also had a snake.
Ah,
Snakes.
no thanks.
I had 2 hamsters.
I had a hamster and a mouse that got loose. So patterns. I'm watching our guys, we have to lower the chit chat because I'm watching our clock. And if there's any time left, we can do review for your test. If there's not, we're not going to have it. So patterns of behavior. Animals use mostly sounds, scents, and body movements to communicate with one another. So you got all kinds of social behaviors. Interactions among animals of the same species are social behaviors. So here are a couple types. You have courtship, territorial rituals, courtship rituals, and cooperation. So there are different things. So look at this dude. Do you know what he is? This is a peacock spider. Animals, usually males, perform courtship rituals to attract a mate. An elaborate series of courtship behaviors, is called courtship rituals. So this guy, this peacock spider, he will like dance on a stick and shake this little part of his abdomen here that's all these bright colors. And it's really pretty. Now here's a bird. There's a great one that's, listen, there's a great one where they've dubbed over a person's voice and it's hilarious. This is just the bird though, not the person's voice dubbed over. But you can see what they do.
I had no clue what was happening at first. Like,
but see?
it spins around.
Different species of parrots, each more bizarre than the last.
It's so funny.
These are all their different courtship rituals. Dancing. Yeah, look at me, look at me.
That looks like a stuffed animal.
I know, it looks like a
human.
looks like a Muppet.
That leaves the male 6 brood where the canine strip time concentrate on other matters.
Cleaning up his little dancing area.
Display.
Hit the room.
So I'm going to skip forward because you get the idea, and I'm watching our clock. So territorial behavior. Many animals occupy a specific area or a territory that they defend against competitors. Animals may use threatening behaviors or aggression to defend their territories. Animals may also use aggression when they compete for resources. So these moose are clearly fighting with their antlers as 2 male moose, and they do this either for mates or for territory. They do both. This one's a quick one, real quick, but this is a territory one here. And this is territory between different species, but they still will fight for it. It'll go, come on, do your thing.
A new threat has arrived on the riverbank. The roving pride of lions, undernourished and looking for territory. It's the dry season, a daily battle for survival. And like the hippos, they breed on both land.
Move a little ahead here. think if I can skip it a minute. So yeah, watch these hippos and these lions. Like you would think that the lions would be scariest, right? Very wrong.
Hippos are fiercely territorial
And mean. Look at them, look.
and notoriously aggressive.
Their babies are cute, but they are not friendly.
Oh yeah, I've seen crocodiles kill.
Even lions give them a
They're like, no, thanks, we're leaving.
They're really.
Here you go. Take it.
Except for Mr. I'm a fancy butt here. Look at him. He's like, I got it. Look at me, fancy. I'm mean.
Bows to no.
Watch this hippo come at him. It's wild. It's like I am the big guy here. I'm the big cheese. Look at this. Look.
Right.
It took him a minute though, didn't it? So, finishing up, we have a couple things to do real quick. Some animals form a society or a group that interacts closely and often cooperatively. The theory that helping a relative survive increases the chance of transmitting one's own genes is called kin selection. The most complex animal societies are those formed by social insects, such as ants, bees, and wasps. All animals in society cooperate closely to perform complex tasks, such as net construction. Cooperation helps animals to stay safe, maintain territory, and find food. If you see those little ants there, it built a bridge, and I'll save this video for you guys to watch later. But as we're wrapping up, you've got competition for things like shelter, food, water, and mates. Those wallabies are not hugging each other. They're fighting. And then passing of information from one individual to another is called communication. You can have visual, chemical, and sound, and communication can involve language. So here's an example. What's this cat telling you by the look of him?
Telling me, get away.
Yeah, he's stressed, so his hackles are up, and that makes him look bigger and more threatening, which is why he does that.
My cat does that when he just wakes up. It's like,
What happens to this? What happens to this beta if you put a mirror up? You ever done that?
No.
If you put a mirror up to a male beta, it thinks it's another male beta, so it goes woof, puffs itself up real big, ready to fight.
That's what the cat does.
That's what they do. So this guy is spraying the tree, right? This is a chemical thing. This is a scent. Yeah, cats, they do that. Dogs do that too. They pee onto everything. Hang on. Look, we're already over time, so hold up. So they will spray and mark their territory. So a pheromone is a chemical that sends a message. There's some lemurs here. I'll show you them later. I'll leave that for you to look at later. So a great example of almost to the point of language is whales use a variety of noises to communicate and socialize with each other. The three main types of sounds that they use are click, whistle, and pulse. And these are all called, and pulse calls, sorry. And whales often speak in different dialects. So you can have a species of whales that lives together in a pod, and then the same species in a different pod, and they actually have a different dialect, which is sort of like, you know, a southerner versus a northerner in the US. They have a slightly different dialect. This guy makes that funny noise. Again, I'll put him up for you. So tracking technology is our last bit here. Scientists can learn about animal movements by tracking. So there's a transmitter that they've adhered to the back of this leopard seal. That doesn't hurt him, it just looks gross. And then if we go back to social behavior for a minute, we talk about language. And I'm going to bring them in for a minute, and we're going to do this bit together before lab. So actually, Drew, can you go grab them, please? Can you tell them come in here for a minute first? Lab's not very long, so I wanted to do this to make sure everybody got a chance to see it, because it's really cool.
Wait, what? People, do we keep this?
Your lab, you're going to keep in your binder, yeah. So before lab, I wanted to show you guys something over here, because this is, they're not going to get a chance to see it otherwise, and I wanted to show it to everybody because it's pretty cool. So I'll wait for everybody to round up in here. How'd you do?
It's not the same.
You didn't go to state?
Oh, well.
Oh, the zoo thing yet. Are you going to Fort Lauderdale, or are you not going to go? We're not going to go.
I did go.
Oh, you did? Okay, great.
But I was too sick to do anything, so.
So you're not going either? Or are you trying to get a dispensation?
I won't.
You're not going to go. We're not going to go either, just because I'm not going to go. Drew says he'll go next year, right? This was just when we were sitting there. He said, I'll go next year.
Be able to go to regionals, I had to step onto the floor, but like.
Yeah, and step off, and that's kind of goofy. Yeah. Yes.
Really cool, sir.
Thank you. I like it too. Cole, come on, you people. All right. So, hi. Yeah. Thank you. I'm excited about this. All right. So, this is the last part of their lesson. It's the last part of your lesson too, but we're going to do it first because your lab shouldn't take too terribly long. And I wanted to show you all this. So we did all this animal behavior stuff in this lesson today. But lastly, I wanted to do this little bit about language. And this is kind of just extra, but it's really kind of interesting. So what about language? So Kanzi was this bonobo that was kept at Yerkes Primate Center in Atlanta. Do you know where Yerkes is? Yerkes is, you know where it is? It's over by Emory, kind of in that general direction. It's there's a little sign, not very big, and it goes way back into the woods, and that's where they have Yerkes Primate Research Center. And they've done some of the leading primate research in the world there. It's pretty cool. So Kanzi learned to communicate using a keyboard and what they called lexicograms, which were sort of like, it's almost like when you're at McDonald's and they don't type out words, they hit pictures and things about what you want to eat. It's kind of like that. So he also picked up some American Sign Language by watching videos of Coco, who was a gorilla that communicated using ASL, which is American Sign Language. So Kanzi's keeper did not realize Kanzi could sign until he signed "You Gorilla Question" to a visiting anthropologist. So they didn't teach him to sign. He just watched this gorilla signing on videos And when an anthropologist showed up one day, he asked the anthropologist, you asking the gorilla question or whatever? And she was like, whoa, he knows words in sign language. And didn't know he knew that. So bonobos, who these guys right here are our closest genetic relatives, right? So bonobos have different vocal tracts than humans, which makes them incapable of reproducing most of the vocal sounds that humans can make. But nonetheless, it was noticed that every time Kanzi communicated with humans with specially designed graphic symbols, he also produced some vocalization. And later it was discovered that he was producing the articulatory equivalent of the symbols he was indicating, although in a very high pitch and with distortions. So like if the word was come or go or something like that, he was trying to say it, but lacks the apparatus to actually say it. But as close as he could get, he was getting, which is pretty darn cool. So here's some video of Kanzi, and this is really neat. So let me show you. They've got musicians in the background. So this is actually Peter Gabriel. So Peter Gabriel, the British guy who used to be with Genesis, then he broke out on his own. He's the one in the orange painting in the pub room. Anyway, Peter Gabriel's a great musician, but he took some guys to go meet this bonobo, and they actually made music with Kanzi. Like they sat down and put Kanzi at a keyboard, and he made music, and then they used some of that, and they made a whole song like about him, and it's really kind of neat because you think of music as purely human, but this guy figured it out. The internet's a little jumpy today, so. It might be. Oh, I hate these stupid ads. Pretty cool. But he is, if you notice, he's repeating the same sort of rhythmic patterns. And he's staying in the same time signature, which is kind of fascinating too.
You're kidding me. I can't do that. I'm really good.
So this is going to be the same for both of you for your Unit 7 study topics. It's all in your Dropbox because it's a big file. So rather than writing them out here. But this is a performance of the actual song, which I'll just play quietly as we get ready for lab so you can see. He talks about it.
Discovered 2 species that are less than 1% equivalent. You'd probably assume they could do many of the same things. Yet, this time, we humans believe we are much smarter than our ape relatives. But in truth, we're only 0.6% difference in our DNA. Last year, we had an amazing experience creating music with some bonobo apes. They turned out to have extraordinary understanding and sensitivity, communicating and playing music with us. That was the inspiration for this song. It's called Animal Nation.
And I'll drop it down and let it play in the background while you get ready for lab.
Animal Nation.
A good song. So for lab, it's pretty self-explanatory. Y'all can go ahead and get started. Write it down. It stays in your binder. I'm going to put it straight on YouTube so it doesn't do this jumpy thing because it's terrible. Yes.
I don't know what team I'm on.
You don't know what?
I don't know what team I'm on.
Oh, the same teams as before. Nothing's changed. Not yet.